Going to Disney World can be so expensive, but there are ways that you can save some money once you are in the bubble in Disney World. And those are the things we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to give you my 5 best tips for saving money in Disney World. Before we jump in, though, I did just want to introduce myself in case you're new here. My name is Allison, and here at Main Street Mommy, I love to make all different types of Disney World content, including budgeting, restaurant reviews, product reviews that you can use in the parks, and all of those types of videos. So if that's the type of content that you enjoy watching, definitely hit that red subscribe button and let's get into the video. So I did just want to mention that the tips that I'm going to be telling you really do just take place once you are in the parks, you're in the bubble, and you're there. So I'm not going to say things like, get the cheapest room at all-star resorts, because sometimes you might be budgeting for different reasons. Everybody has different priorities. So maybe this trip you're trying to splurge a little bit and stay at a deluxe resort, but that means you need to budget everywhere else. Or maybe you have a big family and your only options are suites or even like 2 rooms. So for some people, they're not budgeting for the rooms, and that's okay. Everybody has their own priority. So that's why this video is really going to focus on how you can budget once you are in the parks, mostly about food and souvenirs, because once you're done paying for all of the rest of it, that's really all that's left. So that is what we're really going to be focusing on in this video today. So my first tip is going to take place before you get to Disney World. Even though I talked about that this video was going to be about saving money once you're there, but this is going to be one that you are going to do beforehand in order to save you some money there. So what you're going to do is you're going to buy a couple of items for your kids, souvenirs that you can buy beforehand and bring them with you to Disney World. And this can be bubble wands. You can find some really cheap Disney related bubble wands that you can bring with you, because bubble wands are very expensive in Disney World. So you can go ahead and get them from Walmart, from Amazon, Sam's Club has them. Get them beforehand and bring them with you. If you want to try to hide them the best you can, I've done that before, where I had bought a Lightning McQueen bubble wand for my son because they no longer sell them in Disney World. I was able to just kind of like wrap it in, I think I wrapped it in like a t-shirt or something, put it in my suitcase, and then once we got there, and we were going to our first park, I think I put it like on the bottom of the stroller, still wrapped in something so he didn't see it. And then once he was asking for a bubble wand, I didn't even say that I bought it beforehand. I said, okay, I'm gonna go get you one. And then strategically take it out of the stroller. I think my husband was distracting him and say, oh, look, I got you a Lightning McQueen one. So these can be very easily done. You don't have to hide it that way if you don't want to, but there are some other really cheap Disney related items that you can get from even like Five Below, or the dollar store has like Disney related things that you can get. Stuff them in a bag, and then every now and then you can kind of like, oh, I'm just going to go into the store for a minute, wait here. You can come back out and be like, oh, look what I got you. And they might not know that it didn't come from the store. If you don't take them into the store to shop, you can easily say, oh, look what I got you, and then it's a new thing. It's Disney related. They're not going to know the difference. So that is definitely a money-saving tip that you can very easily do before you get to Disney World to save money on souvenirs. So my second tip is to definitely get a grocery delivery to your resort room. Now you're going to be getting things that you can very easily have in the room. These are going to be little snacks, maybe some breakfast items, things like that you can very easily eat on the go, or it's a quick thing that you can bring or eat in the room before you leave, or you can bring with you. If your kids love crackers or goldfish, anything like that, get those in the grocery delivery so you can take them with you while you're in the parks, so you can have snacks, so you don't have to buy snacks while you're in the parks, or even just around the resort. Now, we will get into another tip on, sometimes you're going to want to buy some snacks while you're there. That's going to be later on. I'm going to give you another tip about that, but definitely get a grocery delivery. It really can save you a lot of money. You can even get things like muffins or Pop-Tarts, anything that's like a quick breakfast item that you can have that can save you and it can save you time as well. So you don't have to stop somewhere and get some breakfast while you're trying to like rope drop the park. You don't have to worry about it. So it really works in multiple ways. It saves you money and time. So it's really a good idea to get a grocery delivery. Now, also in your order, you're going to want to get some bottles of water. Water is one of those things that costs so much money in the parks for no reason, because water is cheap, or it should be cheap. But so what we always do is we always get a couple cases of water bottles. We actually bring a cooler backpack from home and put those water bottles in the cooler backpack and bring it with us, so we don't have to buy any bottled water in the parks. Now, you can get free tap water at the quick services or anything like that if you don't want to get the bottled water, but there are some people that really do not like the taste of Florida water. And if you think that that might be a problem, especially with your kids, you're going to want to have some bottled water. You don't want to have to go and say, oh, we'll just drink the free water, and then your kids don't drink it because it tastes weird. You're going to have to buy water bottles in the park. So don't let that happen. Get the water bottles before you get to the park. Have that in your grocery delivery. At least the water. If you're not going to get food from the grocery delivery, at least get the water bottles, because that really will save you so much money. So my number 3 tip and trick is to split foods and to also get kids meals if you're an adult. So what you can do is, if you're going to a quick service meal or even a snack, if you're a grown-up, you are allowed to order a kids meal as your meal. So that is a great way to save money. Or another thing that you could do is split the meal between whoever wants to split it. So if you're a family of 4, mom, dad, and 2 kids, mom and dad can split a full entree, and the kids can split a full entree as well. So you're only getting 2 entrees that everybody's splitting. Or you can just get a kid meal for everybody. If that's not enough to split the 2 entrees, you can get a kids meal for mom, dad, and the kids. Especially if your kids don't eat a lot. This is a great way to save money, is to split meals and get those kids meals whenever you can. It's a really great way to save that money. So there might come a time when you really want to check out a sit-down meal or a table service meal, and you're wondering how you can fit that in your budget. So what I suggest is to avoid the character meals. You can meet the characters in the parks, so really avoid those, because those are really going to be your most expensive dining options, and really you're paying for the character interactions. The food is just regular food. It's nothing crazy special. So you're really paying that money to meet the characters, and you can meet the characters in the parks. So if you're really trying to budget, I would stay away from the character dinings, and really you can easily get some table service meals while saving money. And the way that my family sometimes does this is we'll go to a table service meal, and my husband and I will just get appetizers, and we'll get kids meals for my kids. And then we'll just enjoy a couple of really good appetizers, and then we will find something later on in the day at a quick service or just snack, because, we do that too, is we just like to snack a little bit. So in order to experience the sit down meal, is that we'll do that. We'll get an appetizer, to even just one appetizer to share or two appetizers to share, and then get the food for our kids so that they have a full meal in them, because my kids are very picky, so they're really just kind of snacking throughout the day. So this way they get a really nice full meal, and my husband and I will just split an appetizer, and then later on we might get something from the quick service at our resort or something like that, and it'll be a smaller item that, you know, the entrees in the restaurants cost a lot of money, but the entrees in the quick service they're usually like half the price of that. So that is how we kind of get around doing the table service meal. And that really helps to save us money, like a lot of money. That helps a lot. So that is one way to experience those meals and save money at the same time. Okay, so my last tip is one that can work for souvenirs and food, because it is what you're going to be doing is putting your budgeted money, so the money that you have budgeted for souvenirs and the money that you have budgeted for food, on Disney gift cards. And this works so well because it really is a budget in a card, right? So you have to make sure that you are only going to be using those gift cards, especially for the souvenirs. Once that money is gone off the gift card, that's it. So it doesn't matter if it's $20, it doesn't matter if it's $100. Sometimes what I like to do is I like to give each of my kids their own gift card. So that way we know that everybody's getting the same amount of money for their souvenirs. So they each have a gift card that they can buy with. And once that money is gone, it's gone. And they know that ahead of time. So it really makes them, really think about the items that they're getting, which is good. You know, it's a good learning experience for them as well, knowing that they do have a budget. So that is one way that to really help limit the souvenir cost, because it is also my number one advice to plan as far ahead as possible for your trip. And that way you can, over time, try to save that money on your gift card. So what you can do is every time you go to Target, you can get a $25 gift card, or if you're a member of Sam's Club, I don't know if other wholesale stores do this, but I know Sam's does. That's the one that we go to, is that you can get a $500 gift card for only $480. So you can save up that money. And once you get that amount of money, go ahead and buy a $500 card. It really does add up over time. And then the money that you save from that, so that $20 that you're saving can go onto your souvenir cards, which really makes it, a nice workaround for all of that. So the money that you're saving on the Sam's card, that can go for dining, and then what you're saving can go for your souvenirs. So you're really getting $500 worth of stuff for only $480. So it really, really works out nicely. Now, in order to know how to budget for your food, it does take some planning, because you're going to want to go into the menus that you can find online on the Disney World website. You can go into the restaurants, look at the menus, look at what you think you might want to get, and kind of really just make a spreadsheet or write down everything that you would want to get, add it all together, and that is literally your budget. I mean, if you are doing table service, you have to make sure you leave room for gratuities and things like that. But it does give you a nice guideline to go by. And especially with using the tips that I said before about splitting meals, doing kids' meals, now you can really go in and look and see, we really want to check out this restaurant, but it's expensive. But oh, look, they have this really nice appetizer that we would like. Let's do that. And that way you can really itemize all the things that you think you might want to get, and then put that into a budget, and then over time put them on those gift cards. And that's what you're going to be using as your food budget. Now, I did just want to mention something. I know I already did my 5, because I didn't want to put this in the list because it really only applies to a certain amount of people. But it does apply to me, where I have very, very picky eater kids. And my tip for that is that now, if you're trying to budget, really, really budget, now is not the time to try new foods unless you're going to a buffet. That is one thing that I always tell my daughter, is that when we go to a buffet, now is the time to try new foods. Just put a little bit on your plate and try it. But if you're not doing a buffet, it's not the time for them to try new foods, because this has happened to us so many times where one of my kids say, oh, I want that. We get it for them and they take one bite and don't like it. And that's just money flushed down the drain, because the rest of us have gotten something that we want, and now we're not hungry enough to eat what they didn't want to eat. So it really is just wasted food and wasted money. So that is a really big tip for if you do have picky eaters. Stick with what you know they like. If they like popcorn, get them a bucket of popcorn and use that as their snack. Those refillable buckets, not the special fancy ones, just the regular bucket, they do refill for like $2.80 or something like that. It's such a great way to save money on snacks. If your kids like popcorn, if they like pretzels, stick with the Mickey pretzels. There might be a time when you want them to try something to see if they like it. And that is where I mentioned before about splitting foods is a great way for them to try something new. So if this is your first time to Disney World and you really want to see if everybody likes Dole Whip, get one Dole Whip, everybody gets to try some, and then you can see who likes it. And then you'll be able to say, okay, I'll get you your own Dole Whip the next time or the next day because we know you like it. But it's not the time for everybody to get something they like and your picky eater says, I want to try that, and everybody else doesn't want to try that. It might not be the best time if you're really trying to save money. So that is my honorable mention that didn't get put into the list. But yeah, so that is another tip. So that does it for this video. Go ahead and give it a thumbs up if it helped you out in any way. And let me know down in the comments your best money-saving tips that you like to use for your family if you go often to Disney World, or if any of the items that I mentioned is something that you might want to try for next time. Let me know down in the comments. And make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos that are coming soon. So until next time.